So further Dave praise. So I did a speaking engagement last week on Thursday, and I tested out Dave's new methods of speaking. Dave, I'm looking at you right now, Dave. Like I was blown away because I had 100% like buy-in for what I was doing. So that it's just further proof that Dave knows what he's doing apparently. So just thank you. Thank you to Dave, obviously, and pouring into us, obviously, as you know, as Matt was saying, we're very grateful.
Love it, love it, love it. Mr. Tim, what about you, brother?
Today I had a self-awareness win. So today I started my day off and I got hit by the terror barrier, and I haven't had one in a while. And yeah, it's following fruitful paths. And I just think back to a year how I would have handled it. And I literally could have ruined an entire day and maybe an entire week, or I haven't had entire months in panic. That's completely unnecessary. And I just thought of how, and this one was pretty hard to get out to. You know, I have two voices. One's like, I want to stay in this bad frequency. The other voice, I finally was like, I got to get moving. I got to get my Proctor on. I got to get the music on. And I'm like yelling in the car, like kind of commanding myself to just raise the higher frequency. And it worked. And I literally could have saved multiple weeks. And, you know, I accomplished some high value things today instead of ruining an entire day and an entire week. So I know how I would have handled this last year, and it was just a major win. You know, these.
No, I love that. I absolutely love that. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think every single one of us here still experiences terror barriers. I know I still do. Sometimes you wake up on a Monday and it's almost like a feeling of overwhelm because most of us have a lot going on, right? And but the key is being able to switch the frequency. And Bob used to say this. People like, you know, Bob, how'd you conquer fear? He's like, I haven't conquered fear. I minimized it. If I recognize that I'm in that state, I know how to shift my frequency because I understand the mind-body connection. And that's what you did, right? It's like, so for me, if I'm in that mode, if I put my earbuds in and listen to my life script, it changes like almost instantly, right? That's the whole purpose of it. Or getting into massive action. Like you can't be taking massive action in sales and be freaking out. It's almost like busying your mind with something productive, right? Sounds like that's what you did, but for me, it's going to gratitude and also just remembering, right? If you're in a state of overwhelm, that's probably what that was for you. It means you're looking at everything at once. You're looking at next week, next month, next year, instead of just today. Like, what do I need to do today? So Bob would always bring it back to just make today a win, right? And that's what it sounds like you did. You got into some action. So yeah, we have these tools, right? But Bob's never met anybody. I've never met anybody that completely doesn't experience fear or anxiety or overwhelmed. It's just, is it like you said, a year, a month, a week, a day, 10 minutes, 1 minute, or 10 seconds? The more we all study, you're going to get to that part where it's like, you feel it and it's out and that's it. So good for you. That's awesome. Good tools. Dave, what's up, handsome? Sounds like everybody's loving it, Dave.
Oh man. I'm just grateful to be a part of this group. Thank you, Brian, for putting this on. It's absolutely incredible. I think my big win is last week I did 3 power days, which is like writing 3 presentations, which is like going up a mountain. Awesome. And I've got Chris coming in Thursday. So I'm very honored and excited to really, what's interesting is going through Bob's stuff and Chris stuff and all the stuff I know and building his talk. So it's been a pretty cool aha of different ways to look at truth and success. So that's been really, really cool. And then again, we did a spiritual event this weekend. We did some astral traveling, and Marty and me have been doing healing sessions like 6 hours a day. So just seeing people really step into the light, opening the light from within. So it's been very, very cool. Doing lots of astral traveling and all kinds of fun stuff.
Nice. I love it. Love it. Love it. Yun, what about you?
I also want to just state my gratitude for you, Brian, for having this group and for all the people here. You can feel that the energy is growth, right? The energy is growth and light and love. And April 6th is another full moon, and it's the pink moon, which really emphasizes unconditional love and the truth of who we are, right? There is so much science and evidence bringing all of this together, and I'm just so in love with everything that's happening. And so with that said, I just really ask, not really ask, but just really want to share gratitude with every single person on this journey of growth, because it's us individually. Like, I love the statement. We have to do it by ourselves, but we can't do it alone, because it is it's a collective consciousness. So thank you, everyone.
I love it. Yeah, honestly, I know this is our group, and obviously I'm very biased, but I've never experienced anything, and I've been a part of half a dozen masterminds and traveled, and you guys have too. So especially for somebody like Dave, I mean, this guy's been around the world for 30 years, teaching, speaking, like events, masterminds, probably more than anybody here. So for him to say how special this group is lets me know that, like, my heart's in the right place, our team's in the right place. We're also attracting the right people into the group. So absolutely love that. Love it, love it. Oh, Nelson, what's up, bud?
Cool win for me is this past 4 or 5 weeks in church, we've actually been going through Philippians. And our pastor, who's amazing, summarized with 10 points of, contentment, basically. And if anybody wants to go through Philippians, it's a short chapter in the Bible, but it's talking about vibration it's being, no matter what's happening in your life, be grateful and have an attitude of gratitude. And I think it's cool to see how the Bible resonates everything that we're learning here as well, in terms of keeping that high vibration and gratitude being the highest of all the vibrations. So Philippians is an amazing study in the Bible, if anybody's interested in that level of awareness.
I love that. And it's true. It's like when we talk about what's happening, what we're really saying is what is currently manifesting. We're usually talking about physical things taking form, whether it's a relationship, a company, a foreclosure, what we call a win, what we call a loss. What we're usually saying is things that have gone from energy into form. And most of those things are based on past thinking and past attraction over time, right? And this is why it's so key, not to gauge or set your vibration based on your current results. It's always like understanding that we need to bring the vibration up, get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled if we're looking to manifest bigger, better things, right? And that's the tricky part, because if you're like me, I went 41 years not knowing any of this stuff, right? So that's 4 decades of paradigms that we need to rewire into the subconscious about understanding it's the frequency of love, it's God, it's source first, and then holding that vibration, focusing on what we want, and turning things into form. So, and that's why I think it's important to talk about this stuff and mastermind in this stuff and look at it from all the different angles, which is why this group is so powerful. So awesome. I love it. Well, Nelson, you win. You get to read the mastermind principles. I'll pull them up.
Yes. Let's go. Mastermind principles. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I am open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire totally and trust to the mastermind, and I'm open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires, and I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my fulfillment. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I will go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy.
Thank you, my brother. Love to get us off on the right foot there. So a couple of housekeeping things, and we're going to get into some accountability. Mr. Blake, is there a lot of people are interested in the Be the Bank class that you guys are having? Do you have like a final link here that you want to share, or can you remind us of the dates again as well?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you asking and doing so on behalf of everybody. The dates are April 14th through the 16th. That's Friday, Saturday, and about a half day on Sunday. the Monday prior, I think it's either Monday or Tuesday, we've got kind of an orientation call just to help people get their bearings and know what to expect. And then the Monday following, there's the final Q&A call. So it's stuff sort of spread out over a week, but mostly concentrated Friday, Saturday, and then half day Sunday. Let me grab a link. And I guess Dave, on the last webinar that he did, he kind of gave people two different routes they could go. One was to either book a call if they've got questions, there's sort of a yes, but, or there's a direct to a checkout page. So just in the interest of relationships, and you guys are all becoming more and more like family to me, I'll give you guys Dave's calendar so you guys can at least chat briefly with him and make sure it's a fit for you. Let me drop that in right now. And thanks again, Brian, for reminding me.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure, because there's a lot of interest in, you know, I think it's obviously a valuable thing to learn as a growing revenue stream. So, and then the next thing, guys, our team, we have a really, really amazing team in the Matrix. And if you guys have any, you know, questions or you need links, anything support-wise that's sort of non-coaching, please message Valerie. She is like literally full-time working with this team here as like a concierge, or if you need anything, licensing into TIR, lead the field. Some of you have gone through TIR or you're close and you haven't gone through lead the field. If that's the case, get with Valerie. That's the next content from Bob, and she can walk you and talk you through that. So just make sure you're directing all things, because a lot of times I'll get texts like right at the end, you have the link, and I'm like trying to prepare for the lesson, right? Or the mastermind. I'm like, see Val. So just see her for all things sort of support and clerical. Her and Jamie, we have a big team. Kendra, we have obviously Laura, but she's the one that's literally working full time for you guys. So big shout out to Valerie. Well, let's get into some accountability. And we went through this for a few weeks. We've gone through a lot of you guys, but I know we have some new members, and this is different than the hot seats, right? A hot seat is when one of you has the entire mastermind to yourselves, and you really get to dig deep. What we're doing here is just accountability. You know, what's your goal? What is a couple of things we might be able to help you with? And it's sort of like laser coaching. So we should be able to get quite a few of you in today. And Mr. Tim, let's start with you, bud. You haven't had your hot seat yet, and that's okay. This is just more about letting these guys know what your C-type goal is. What are you currently working on? And we'll see if it frees anything up that we might be able to help you with if you're stuck anywhere.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not prepared for this, but C-type goal is, 100 million in 4 years. I just, got to start somewhere. So I just tried to map out 5 million this year and 15 million next year. And my primary, so I have a few streams. 2 of them are Amazon stores that I have basically removed myself from the business. So those have some level of growth, but my primary goal is related to coaching. I'm coaching Amazon sellers. I've been doing it for a few years with a partner. And since I started reading the goal card, the universe helped me break off on my own. And we have a low level group. It's 149 a month. We got a nice batch of 155, really good members, good energy in there. And I've been working in my business the last 3 months on interviewing for the next level coaching, the 5,000 for 6 months, eyeing a $20,000 for 6 months for people that want to make an 8-figure Amazon store, and then a 40,000 for 6 months for a private label store. And then on top of that, a software that once we get our lower level groups very big, there's a lot of software improvements that need to be made in the Amazon space. So again, I'm not prepared on what to ask for that, but I guess just
that's okay. It's more of a quick thing. So number one, now we all know your goal, so we can hold you accountable. That's the biggest part. When I say that we're doing accountability is to express that. I'm writing it down. The team is going to actually produce a document pretty soon, guys. It's going to be a live document that's on the website that we're building out like amazingly. We had a lot of things coming through the portal, so you guys can connect, know each other's goals. And I've always said, 6 months ago, I'm like, what if we all had like a printout of each other's goals and we could put energy to each other's goals? I've never seen any other group do this. I've never done it myself. I feel like it's going to be absolutely amazing. So part of it is just now we know your goals, so you can't hide.
I love it. I appreciate that.
One of the things I suggested, and somebody else might have some other ideas, is 400, or is it 100 million or 400 million?
100 million in 4 years.
100 million in 4 years.
That
One of the
involves a
things I
couple exits.
suggested from an exit, yeah.
That's
One of the
it.
things I suggested, what about the next 12 months, right? So
Right.
that's
This morning I mapped out even shorter, just to the end of this year. And it was really exciting to do because, you know, when I get into the weeds and in my business, I don't like to look at my chips all the time. I don't like to look at the bank because, you know, the report card syndrome, but this is
exactly, yeah.
better. Looking at the future is like, that's going to keep me excited.
Mhm.
And the near future, not like a 4 year is like hard to, you know, piece together, but that like next 8 months, I'm like, wow, I could be making 400, 500,000 a month in 8 months. Like that's incredible for me. That's so much different than where I am right now.
Well, you get really excited too, because it's like, it's real close, right? And one of the things I was saying to you yesterday is that, you know, the 500K a month, it is the 100 million in a shorter timeline, right?
Yeah.
Same goal expressed in a different timeline. So one of the things I would say to you is, I don't know if you've had a one-on-one with Dave Van Hoos to really get like your signature presentation, but I think you heard the buzz here. It's probably a good thing to sit with him one-on-one and just see if there's a fit.
Well,
You know, and
I
what
would
he-
love that. First, I'm doing Domination Day with Chris Patterson in a week or two. So I'm super pumped about that. He's going to teach me, I think, some of the things Dave's taught him, plus, yeah, sales closing, everything. So
Awesome.
super pumped.
Anybody else have anything they can think of offhand to help Tim out? Anything come to mind? Yep, Greg?
Well, I know for a while, Brian, wasn't Michael Walding doing Amazon, Walmart
Mhm.
stuff. He might just be a good resource for Tim in terms of what Michael's scaling was. That might just be a good, hey, mentorship kind of scenario, because Michael, obviously we know Michael well, he's more than willing to give back. But you know, just a good dude to just chat with, obviously from Tim's, you know, from Tim's point of view for sure.
That's a good point. I wrote that down before, but so Tim, I'll make that connection. And he's a good one to talk to because he went through the roller coaster ride that I think you may have went through of like opening a bunch of stores, went really well. Then both Amazon and Walmart like changed everything, like had some major issues. And I think now he's on the other side of it. But it was like a whole year of some roller coaster ride. So conditioning yourself to, when you're building a business and what you're marketing isn't totally in your control, which that's the case there, right? It can be a challenge. So how do you process that? So I'll line you up with Michael. I'll line you guys up on a one-on-one.
Thank you. And yeah, the interesting thing is what I'm coaching is like this stuff, like more like this, you know, I'm tricking people into think they're learning Amazon, but I think you guys all know a lot of the realities to being successful in business are like battles in the mind. And it's like people in these brand new businesses, they think they're coming in to get the tactics. And so I do want to look out towards, yeah, Amazon isn't going to be around for, or, you know, they might change a rule that makes it really hard to advertise that. But if I can offer, you know, 4 other different business lines, that'd be great.
Yep. So I'll connect you with Michael. Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tim, I gotten very familiar with your industry. I've written a lot of presentations on it. So I think the beautiful thing that you have the opportunity to do is to do the business and teach the business. Like I would do real estate and then I would teach how to do real estate. And I always say, who got wealthy? The realtor or the realtor school? The massage therapist or the massage school? So obviously, you know, teaching what you do is a very powerful thing. So to me, you have a business opportunity. And right now there's so many people looking for business opportunities. So to me, if I were you, I would do 2 strategies to add a zero to your business. One, obviously, I would do an automated webinar funnel. I would build out landing page, some videos to drive people to a webinar that you tell your story, grab their attention, target a problem, teach them a couple strategies, and then offer them, you know, a boot camp or however you want to fulfill your teaching. And then just drive traffic using LinkedIn and Facebook ads. That's what I'm doing for franchising. It's worked very, very well. That'd be number 1. Number 2, obviously, there's a lot of stages out there. There's a lot of places that have maybe your customer. And obviously, if you go to a real estate seminar, you come in as, hey, real estate's cool, but how about do, you know, this on the side? So right now, seminars are just back in full force and everywhere. So I think if you, and it doesn't even have to be you, or you could do what I did, train a team of speakers that can go to all the real estate investor clubs, the real estate seminars, and then obviously sell your course. That's what I would do if I were you. So those are just some cool little things that you could consider. Are you doing any of those things by any chance right now?
I really appreciate that. I have speaking in the back of my mind, but again, these last 3 weeks I've been working in my business and have been thinking, and I've done a couple speeches with really good results with clients. So it seems like such a good idea, but I didn't even think, I already am training 2 people like to do my sales pitch. But I wasn't thinking like, wow, I could actually also train them to be speakers. And there's plenty of people that have followed my stuff and are ready for that. So that's huge. And then the funnel, it's in the back. I have a CMO. I have a quick question about that. Webinar funnel, that's free, I'm assuming. Once you get the boot camp, are you charging some small amount?
Well, typically the model that I always like to do is free to come, pay to leave, because it's really easy to get people to come. Like you look at T. Harv Eker, the Millionaire Mind, he basically gave away his $3,000 3-day boot camp for free to get a customer on the back end. So typically, how I built my $14 million seminar company was really easy. I'll break it down in 2 seconds. What we would do is we'd pick a market like, let's just say, Miami. Then we would do advertisement. Typically back then it was newspaper, but today you'll use Facebook ads, direct mail, and radio. And you'll promote, hey, a business opportunity. Come down to the hotel and we're going to show you how to have the total freedom life. You don't even have to tell them what it is. It could be a blind offer. Then from there, you'll have what we call a front-end speaker that's going to talk for about an hour. And then you'll book a lunch and a dinner in Miami, lunch and dinner in Fort Lauderdale, lunch and dinner at Boca. You'll have about 5 hotels around that marketing place. And that will come down for a free invitation. People will come, the speaker will get up there, do a presentation for about an hour, and then he'll sell a 3-day boot camp that he'll come back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is the perfect sweet spot. And typically they'll charge from $500 to $2,000 to come back to the boot camp. Now, the boot camp is a different speaker. To me, it's kind of like running. You have sprinters are different than long distance runners. Sprinters is what we call the front end guy. Those are what I call the pumpers, right? They pump people up. Then you've got the 3-day speaker, which is more the teacher. Those are the dumpers, I call them. And those they do for 3 days. And then at the 3-day event, you want to have a $10,000 coaching, a $25,000, and a $50,000 coaching. And typically the numbers real quick is on the front end, you'll close about 20%. On the back end, you're looking at about $2,000 to $4,000 per head at the boot camp. So if you get 100 people to your 3-day boot camp and you do $2,000 a head, that's 200,000. Okay. And there are 2 different types of speakers. Front end guys and back end guys are totally different. Then, and you just go city to city to city to city to city to city. That's how Chris and Jeff Adams did it. They did 40 million in 1 year doing the Amazon thing that you want to do. And that's the exact model.
That sounds fun. I'm glad this is recorded because I tried to take as many minutes as possible.
Well, the other thing, you get the recording, but I would schedule one-on-one with Dave. He gave you a quick
just give me a call, man.
Dave will spend time with you. He's been very good in the group and helping us all out. So I would book a one-on-one with Dave.
I'll put my email and information. You can call me.
Thank you. This sounds amazing because I like the idea of traveling, boot camps. Like it's so holistic compared to just sitting here and, building marketing plans and all that. Like I like that in addition to, just Google ads and whatever, that less personal. Because I had a lot of success the last time I spoke.
Online marketing and marketing really, really hasn't worked very well. What works, I show up, I do a presentation, people run to the back room and buy, and I go home. Like it's the easiest and fastest way to make money.
I love that. Thank you, Dave.
So that's good advice for a lot of you that are in coaching or looking to do coaching for sure. So, all right. So great feedback. So that's more like laser coaching, right? It's a quick hit. Find out what your goal is. We're going to hold you to your goal and then give you hopefully some really good advice, which I think you just got there. So the next victim I want to bring up is Mr. Chris Norton, who's probably not prepared for this at all either. But again, this is not your hot seat. This is just, let us know what your C-type goal is and a little bit about what you're doing. And we'll see if we can just quick hit laser coach and get the energy up and hold the vision.
Sure. So I'm in the financial services space. I run, a traditional financial services brokerage firm with my partner in Boca Raton. And then we also have a venture capital late stage fund where we buy companies like SpaceX, for example, from insiders and employees before the company goes public and give our investors access to that. The market's been very rough as of late. So in the next 12 months, my goal is to get the business to $500,000 a month over the next 12 months. And then really over the next like 3 years, I'd like to, as we spoke, Brian, I'd like to diversify my revenue streams because I'm working like a lot in the business because it's hands-on with clients. So I'd like to diversify and get some more revenue streams coming in where if I could be doing $1 million to $2 million a month over the next 3 years would be my goal in revenue streams that are not focused on my core business. That would be my C-type goal, I guess you would say.
So 2 things that you said, if I could get to $1 million a month, I would make a decision to get to $1 million a month. And there's a big difference, right? Of
Right.
course you can. Of course you can, especially with this group here. You're going to get so many ideas and so many revenue streams and just professional advice. You don't even have to know how. It's more. So it sounds like your C-type goal short term is $1 million a month.
Short term, $500,000 a month over the next 12 months. Like between now and the next 12 months, I want to get to $500,000 a month every month.
Okay. So that looks something like on a goal card, right? I'm so happy and grateful that I'm earning in excess of $500,000 a month from multiple revenue sources in a calm, confident, heavenly manner in 2023. Something like that, something for your subconscious to look at. And you've probably gotten goal cards from Valerie. If anybody here needs a goal card with a laminate, again, Valerie, and if you could put your email in there, Val, that'd be great. I'm of the opinion that you should all have a laminated goal card. It's a direction. This is where I'm going. We were at a party this weekend, a very high-end party. It was in a penthouse, and I was blowing people's minds because we're obviously talking about wealth and different things, and they're all very successful people. And I'd pull up my goal card and I'm like, "What's that?" They read, be like, "Oh my God, like what's this all about?" Right? They have a fraction of like 1% of the planet actually has a written goal, which is like directions. Like when you get into an Uber, what do? You don't just do nothing. You plug in directions. So my advice would be to have that $500K a month on a couple of goal cards and always have that with you. And you read them in the morning, you read them at night, maybe take it out at noon. You get emotionally involved in the idea. And, Bob used to say this works like unadulterated magic. Next thing you know, it's like things will come into your life seemingly out of nowhere. You're like, this is wild, right?
Right.
But it's the law of attraction. It's the actual physics law of attraction. And, you're newer to the group. So law of attraction can sound ethereal.
Right.
Magical, right? But it's simply the universe responding to vibration. It's getting on a higher frequency of people, places, things, and circumstances that are at $500,000 a month, right? So you're in a group of people. Many of us have multi-billion-dollar goals. So there's no big or small here. It's just, what do you want? What would you love? So you're in the group doing the things. So spiritually, intellectually, and physically, if you can identify the things that you're doing spiritually, intellectually, and physically towards your goal, you will speed up the gestation period, right? So spiritually, it would be like meditation and prayer. How much time do you spend a day fantasizing and feeling that you already have the $500,000 a month? Probably the biggest one that most people miss. Call it prayer, call it meditation, imagination. You're literally fantasizing and feeling like it's already here. And correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably the smallest one, probably not doing much of that.
Say that again. What part of it?
My guess is that you're probably not spending 20 minutes like calming your mind and just feeling the energy and fantasizing about already having the $500,000 a month.
No, I'm definitely not doing that.
It's the biggest piece of the equation.
Right.
We're convinced that the physical hustle is the biggest part. It's a piece, but it's not the biggest part. And I see Jan, I see Dave, like people that have been studying the mind, and Dave's been astro traveling, understanding the spiritual component, the energy side of this phone. That's the biggest piece that will speed it all up. So those are my 2 cents is get a goal card and chisel out like 20 minutes in the morning to just calm your mind, look at your goal card and build out a life script, which you and I can sideline on that if you want, if you don't have a life script. Yeah, and get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So those are my 2 cents. Tim?
I have a question about that. So in Think and Grow Rich, he says spend minimum of 30 minutes per day in what you're talking about. And I'm just curious, I guess, with some of you guys, have you had different, like maybe you, Brian, have you found different like levels where you feel perfect about it? Like you spend an hour a day the entire week. Do you feel better than the 30 minutes? Like,
So everybody's going to be different, right? You're gonna find your own balance of studying, like content, praying, visualizing. I like transcendental meditation, although I haven't been consistent as I want. I love the idea because it's 20 minutes twice a day. But I think the general idea is first thing in the morning, spend some time tapping into God, source, visualizing, whatever that looks like to you. You might journal while you're doing it. You might calm the mind. You might visualize. You might have a life script like I was talking about, which we can talk about. You're going to find your own balance, and it's important that everybody here finds their own balance. Because if you ask me, I'm going to give you one thing, and if you ask Yun, she's going to give you probably something completely different. Because I'm very right brain, she's very left brain, and you'll find from this group you're going to hear all kinds of different things that are working for people, and then you just try it. You just try it, right? But for me, it's like part of that morning. I spend 20 minutes in the shower in prayer. That's something I got from Bob, like feeling the water. It's almost like energy's running to and through you and you're physically feeling it. So I visualize and imagine and pray in the shower in the morning. And then if I'm on point, I'll be at the gym. I'll be cycling and listening to my life script, which again, that's meditation, and also listening to content. Yun?
That's too funny, Greg. I love Greg. Really quickly, I think this might benefit all of us. Just the perspective I want to share. I truly believe that spirit is the most important because we're energy beings that come into this physical experience. And so with that said, one of the powers that all the powers within us, and I'm a huge believer that this entire life experience is just to discover more of who we are and what we are. Right. So going back to exactly what Brian said, I think that, the biggest program that we have as humans is this idea that something's right and something's wrong, right? We're always trying to compare and judge, like this is right, this is wrong, this is right. What if you had a belief system that everything is right? Right? Like you can't do anything wrong because it's your life that you're creating, because it's all about vibration. Like everything on this entire universe is all energy. Energy is vibration. Vibration is frequency. So the most important thing that we need to really understand is feeling good. So again, this is something that I want to share is I see too many people understanding these concepts, but it's not about understanding. It's about knowing. And how do we know? We know through our own experiences. So a huge thing that has really helped me and a lot of people that I work with is truly understanding that everyone outside of you is just an extension of you for you to discover more of who you are and what you are. And you do that through the vibrations and the emotions that we feel, right? So think about this. We are so powerful that we as humans have the ability to accept or reject any idea. And as you guys all know, I work with a lot of people as well, like coaches that I look up to and mentors that I love. But if they say something that doesn't run me the right way, I right away reject it, because there is nothing more powerful than me and what I believe in and what I want to believe in, right? Because our reality is just an expression of our underlying belief system and our set of expectations. So there is no right or wrong way. If you're interested and it just perks you, just get into action and just start, because the thing is really the journey with you and your higher self.
I love one thing you said there, Yun, and I say this from time to time too. In this group here, it is very important that you guys remain individuals, even though we're in a group. Like you don't have to believe, and matter of fact, please don't. Anything that comes out of my mouth, just ponder it, right? Come into a space where you're wide open to suggestion, but then you have to play with the energy. It's like, do you agree with that? Do you think that brings value? And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul, because we have a lot of different experiences here. And I think that's the beautiful part of a mastermind. So you'll hear me say that this is not a religious group. We study theology and spirit, and some of the books talk about God, but that doesn't mean it's religious study, right? And there's nothing wrong with religious study. Here we study spirit. And we do have different people that have different perceptions. And I think it's beautiful when we come together and offer those, because it allows all of us, including myself, to be open to ponder it. And it's like, that makes sense to me. But please, please, please don't think that anything I talk about is like, you need to do this. It's never like that. It's just meant for all of us to combine our intelligence and choose to accept the pieces to build your own paradigm, right? Most people, not this group, but most people that are out there in the world, their paradigm consists of other people's ideas from birth. And it's so powerful that they get locked and they don't succeed and they don't break out and they don't do the thing. They don't form their own opinions. Here, we are literally creating our own subconscious beliefs in exactly what Yun said. I love that. It's like, form your own beliefs from here. You're going to get a lot of ideas on everything, right? So I love that. Perfect. You know who I haven't heard from in a while? And Len, I don't know if it's just you or Len or Beth as well, but why don't you bring us up to speed on where you're at, what your goal is, and if there's anything we can do to help.
So it'll be just me. So my goal is, I'm so happy and grateful now that I make $1 million a month in passive income in a calm and heavenly manner. And I keep my gold card in several different spots, but one of them is on one of my daily reminders, because that has to be a daily reminder. So not only my calendar, but my daily reminder. I think that the thing that is very powerful for me is the exercise that you and I went over, Brian, where saying $1 million a month in passive income is one thing, but knowing what to do with it is really the answer that's going to generate why I'm going to create $1 million a month in passive income. So it's very simple for me. 200,000 a month goes to the family, Romanowski family, for fun. 200,000 a month to the Romanowskis for investments. 200,000 per month for the Romanowski family investments. $200,000 a month to our bench project 501c for donation, and 200,000 a month to run the bench project. So that's my goal. That's what I'm going to do. We're 25% there, 20 to 25% there. We were 0% there when we first made this C-type goal. What am I doing about it? I'm taking some of our passive investments that are presented through the Elite 100. But in addition, in the last month or two, and again, my rocket ship was the Elite Retreat in Miami. But since then, I've taken control of a couple other things. I've done some work with Corbin. Corbin, are you on? Thank you so much. Oh yeah, there you are. Thank you, Corbin. My son and I just opened another corporation this past week when I was in Charleston. That will be Black Dog USA, and that's going to create a way to help people invest, and that'll be a business for us. But it'll be a couple other things that we'll talk about somewhere down the line. And I'm also always looking for other opportunities that suit me, make me feel comfortable. Not all opportunities make me feel comfortable. So that's my goal, 1 million a month in passive income.
I was muted, sorry about that. I love that, very concise. You know where you are, you know where you're going. You've been with us one of the longest people in the Elite 100, actually, so it's not a surprise. There's some new people in the group, though, that probably don't know about the bench project. So I don't know if you have a link that you could drop just so they could check it out. And again,
Yeah,
I know that's more Beth's thing than yours, but there's also people here that don't know about it.
Right. What I'll do is I'll put that link in the WhatsApp, the Elite 100 WhatsApp, or I'll have Beth do it. Because that is it's getting bigger and bigger. We're now in 33 states. So every month or two, we add another state. We're doing more public speaking on it. We have another talk coming up, not too far from here, within 100 miles, a week from Thursday.
Okay.
So it seems like almost every week we speak about it. But the bench project, for whoever's new on here, is about mental health and wellness through journaling, sitting on a bench, taking your time to journal. And one of the first things we did when we opened the bench project was open the 501c, because that's such a key important part of the bench project is giving back. And we have done that. We've donated to national parks and recreations, women homeless shelters, no kill dog shelters, Epilepsy Foundation.
Wow.
And Cholestasis Foundation, which is it's an illness that a mom has during the end of her pregnancy, and unfortunately the baby dies. And we have a personal history with that, but we're taking that personal history and we're going to create a bigger awareness so other families don't have to go through what we went through. But it's all good. It's all part of the process. It's all a good thing. So yeah, we love to donate benches, and we're donating benches to people that petition throughout the United States. We donated out to a person out in Oklahoma whose child died at summer camp. We just donated another bench to a family whose son committed suicide 10 years ago. And he has his name on the bench with his saying, which is, as you go out into nature more often, things become very clear. And so that's another bench we donated. So that's the plan. And again, Brian, thank you. You've donated to the project, Michael Walding, Luke, and we appreciate all of you for that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, looks
I'll
like
have Beth drop
Nelson, yeah, no worries. Looks like Nelson has maybe some advice or something to interject.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of build on what you said about, really thinking through, what does it mean when you put a number? And I think, it's part of the knowing doing gap. Yeah, you know what your C-type goal is, but what are you going to do about it? And I think there's two ways to do it. There's planning, like me and my wife will sit down and plan and think through, okay, we have $500,000 a month. Where is that going to? What are we doing with it? What philanthropy are we doing? What trips are we taking? What does our house look like? All the little things. And you can just go on, you use your imagination for planning. But then also there's the meditation piece, right? When you're really getting close to the quantum, when you're on that high level of meditation, theta brain waves, really thinking through all of those things that you're going to do and experiencing those feelings during meditation. So I think it's absolutely critical to do what you suggested when you set a C-type goal, and really, as much as you can, both practically experience what you're going to do and what those experiences are going to be, with someone else, but also, during meditation. So absolutely agree with what you said there.
Nelson, I'll tell you that we were on, I believe it was an inner circle call, wasn't it, Brian? Where this younger gentleman, Zach, was on, and he was talking about a C-type goal and money. Yeah. And everybody gave him super great concrete advice. Everybody gave him the how to make the money. But I believe that if you don't know what you're going to do with the money, how do you believe you're going to manifest it? It's chasing a dream that you don't know where it's going to be applied. So my humble opinion is, not only do you need the how you're going to get it done, but what are you going to do with it? And then I think it just all falls into place. It surely is falling into place for us that way.
Perfect. Love it. Great advice. Great advice. We'll finish up with one more, and I wanted to bring my main man Corbin front and center because we're working on something together. I think a lot of you guys know about it. Corbin, maybe just bring everybody up to speed on where, I know we're meeting tomorrow, but where that's at, and we'll see if anybody frees up any thinking that might be able to help.
So we met a couple of weeks ago and I think made a lot of progress to creating exactly what we're going to be taking to the community of kids that are aging out of the foster system. So just for those of you that have not heard about this, I about 3 years ago heard about the statistic that 23 kids per year age out of the foster system. They turn 18 and they're given their $150 and usually a trash bag for their clothes. I used to say a suitcase, but in getting into this, I've learned that it's usually a trash bag. And so that stuck with me for the last several years. And I just got to the point where I couldn't put off doing something about it. And so I created the foundation called Footprints Forward. We are hopefully going to finalize kind of our product offering, if you will, or our minimum viable product tomorrow. But you know, we are looking for, I'll have the bank account open here within about a week. And so there will be, you know, some capital needs to really get the foundation off the ground and get some kids in the program. But our goal is to not create the world's greatest program right off the bat, but to create just something that can be executed quickly to start impacting kids' lives and get people into the program. So one of the things that we came up with was it's just dinner. You know, having families throughout the community volunteer just to have these kids over for dinner, and that be one of the programs that we implement, along with giving them access to thinking into results, so that we can hopefully begin to coach them and give them a new outlook on life, that their past doesn't have to dictate their future. And then based off of their participation in thinking into the results and completing the programs and that sort of thing, there will be some financial grants and things like that they can utilize to, you know, help with, you know, the transition to adulthood. One of the other areas that we really want to focus on is, you know, giving them access to trauma coaches, basically people that specialize in helping people deal with trauma. That is something that we're still in need of, that resource. We don't really know. That's not an area that I'm ultimately that familiar with. So this problem is massive, and as I kind of mapped it out, in order to really meet the need, and allocate about $20,000 a year for each one of these kids, we need about $480 million a year to be resourced. And so, you know, that's kind of my new C-type goal, is to create that $480 million a year. And so obviously there's a long road to get there.
Well, let's do this. I want to make sure we have time for some feedback, because I think that's enough of a snapshot. And I know Nelson has his hand up, and want to help you keep moving with this too. So that's good that you said the 480 million, because I hadn't heard that myself. So now that I know that, I'll put that into the goals. But Nelson, do you have some advice?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you open to, so I had lunch with a friend of mine the other day, and one of his neighbors is a billionaire. And it just so happens that one of his side projects, the billionaire, is creating a program for teenagers, 17, 18, 19-year-old teenagers. So you're open to other programs being combined and offered alongside of what you're building?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have a PDF yet with kind of an overview of some bullet points that you can send to me?
No, but we should have that here within, you know, 2 weeks, I'd say.
Okay, perfect. Because I'll get that introduction made.
I love that. That's one of the things Corbin and I masterminded on the other day. It's like this group is not just going to provide a service. It's also going to bring in and be like a resource of other resources that are already available. There's already things that are pieced out and sparsed out, and groups doing things that are not connected. So one of the things we masterminded on the other day is like, what if we brought all of that together plus what we're doing, right? So that's a great suggestion, Nelson. It's definitely in harmony with the goal here. Greg?
Hey, Corbin, I do have a contact in the trauma counseling side. I'm a chairman of the board of a ministry locally here called Wholeness to Freedom. And they do a lot of like counseling on the, you know, kind of the Christian counseling side. But there's they don't counsel necessarily like kids aging out of foster care, but they have a lot of resources in that respect. So it could be just some good idea sharing and creation from that intro. So I'm happy to do that for you.
Awesome.
Corbin, do you have an invite to tomorrow's meeting? Because we could drop that in the chat. Any one of you are welcome to come in and sit in and mastermind with us. And you don't have to even be part of like the board or the weekly or whatever. Just if you want to drop in, hear what it is, give ideas.
Let me see if I have that.
If not now, put it in, let's find it and put it in the chat group in the WhatsApp. Because some of you probably have great ideas that you want to drop in without necessarily being on the board or, you know, a core part of it. Chris?
There it is. I just dropped it in.
Cool. So I think that meeting's tomorrow at noon or something, right? Or 1?
That meeting is tomorrow at 1 Eastern.
1 Eastern, yeah. So feel free, any one of you, feel free to drop in, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes to give a couple of ideas or connections or resources. I think that'll help.
Is there a specific location that this is going to target, Corbin, like an area of the country?
So initially, I'm going to obviously focus in Colorado Springs just because I'm here and I'm going to be, you know, kind of the main boots on the ground. But with what we're creating, you know, one, I want it to be a nationwide opportunity. And two, there's all sorts of organizations that are helping with just the housing component of it. And some of those most basic needs that I want to partner with and kind of supplement. And those are all over. I know that there's some in Florida. And so connecting with them and, you know, partnering with them to where we could give these kids some additional resources will be a way that we can really expand this pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm in a group down here. It's a South Florida group, but everyone contributes a membership fee. And then at the end of basically the year, we donate to 3 charities that, you know, they feel that the board feels is, you know, the best, but mostly it's homegrown. So it's local. So if there's any sort of connection to South Florida, I'm happy to, you know, make an introduction.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. Love that. Love it. Love it. This is exactly the point of these little laser coaching accountability, some quick hits in between the bigger, deeper dives. So anybody else with anything for Corbin before we wrap up?
Just thank you. It's pretty amazing.
It is. And I actually
so
known Corbin
amazing.
for a while. I watched the transition from his other seats at goal to this, like being an all consuming, like, this is why I'm on this planet type of thing. So it's always cool
You
to
can
see
feel your love,
their
Corbin,
purpose.
like expansion of the love. It's just pretty amazing.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, appreciate your input. There's a few of you that are newer that have hot seats coming up. Again, raise your hand, you know, when you want that, whether it's Tim or Chris or Eric and Kathy. I don't know if you've had yours yet. Blake, I know, needs one. So whenever you guys are ready, just let me know a couple of weeks in advance and we'll get you guys in for a deeper dive. So until then, guys, have a great week. Be well. God bless. Let's go out and change the world.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
everyone.
Bye,
Have a great day.
everyone. Have a great week.